that is more human than another human. Therefore, the quality of life that you live is directly determined by the impact that you make in the life of other people, even as you go about this journey of life. These people can be relatives, they can be people you have never met before, but the crux of the whole idea, or the idea behind the whole essence of living, is to make an impact in the life of somebody in the little way that you can. Sometimes you trivialize these little things that you do because they might look small to you, but they are actually not small to the person that you're doing it for. That small 100 naira, that small 200 naira, 500 and 1000 that you spare to help a brother, a sister outside there, in terms of volume might look small, but in terms of value it is very, very big, because it is what they need at that point in time. So as you go about your business this morning, do well to impact the life of somebody in the little way that you can. Only that way can we live an human and live a fulfilled life. Well, good morning from the hills of Zenaria here in the city of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. It is a very beautiful morning this morning with a weather of about 22.5 degrees Celsius. If you can hear my voice, that it means you're rightly tuned into the frequency meter of Unity 93.3 FM and TV. And of course, it is still that your most anticipated political and socio-economic program on the radio, the Unity Train. Today is the 5th day of December 2024. The year is fast coming to an end. And like the professor would say, how far with your goal, how far with those plans that you keep, that you've made in the beginning of the year, your New Year resolutions, the book you said you wanted to write, the house you said you wanted to build, the travel you said you wanted to travel, and other things that you want to do. Have you been able to do them? If you have not been able to do them, thank God for life, because if you are under my voice this morning, then it means it is the first miracle that has happened to you. Being alive is the first miracle we get experience every day of the week. As far as you wake up alive, then God has a very beautiful plans for you. Just allow him be your compass and let him direct you towards his plans for you, because his plans is always the best as far as life is concerned. Well, like you know, as we do this program every day, we do this program 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and this program is done in 3 segments. The first segment is that segment that we bring to you newspaper reviews and news on different dailies. Well, the second segment is the segment where we bring to you analysis about certain issues, especially issues of interest that concerns our nation or our locality. The third segment is the segment where you will call in. I call that segment your segment because it is the segment that belongs to you. You call in and give your submissions and input as to certain issues that you find of interest. Also, your contribution as to the discussion that we have in the house. That segment is the third segment in this program. And when it is time for you to actually reach us out, you can reach us on Facebook on Unity FM/TV Jos, and on YouTube you can reach us on Unity FM Jos, Unity FM TV Jos. The numbers to call when it's time to call is 07032353315. I'll call that number again, 07032353315. And the number to send your SMS to is 08163141141. Today is Thursday, and by tomorrow we'll be saying thank God it's Friday. Just a few days ago we started the new week, and then already it's Thursday. The week is really, really fast. Has been spent so much. It seems like yesterday was Monday. Well, with all that being said, I'm just going to delve directly into the conversation of today. But first, we'll be starting with the newspaper headlines, and I'll be starting with the first news. The first news has this to say: Senate summons Keyamo Airlines over persistent flight delay. Senate forms committee to address controversies in tax reform bills. Well, it seems like our voices have been heard, and then the impact that we have been trying to make is being made, because the Senate are actually bowing to our pressure. Fun to deploy mystery shoppers with body cameras at airports. PSC chair warns against bribery in police academy admission process. Governor Abiodun presents 1.55 trillion 2025 budget proposal to Ogun Assembly. Farotimi remanded. Farotimi is a lawyer and a human rights activist. He was arrested, and then just recently he was arrested, and for a claim that he deformed someone's character. And as at yesterday, I came across the news, bad news actually for me, because Farotimi is one person I believe has been vocal to the cause of humanity and to the advancement of Nigeria. He said he was arrested and that he was sent to prison yesterday. Well, I cannot tell why this is happening, because I have not really read the news as much as I should, or what their claims really are, if really what they are claiming he did is what he did. But then I am not really happy. He is sentenced to prison, if actually he was sentenced to prison, because though I saw it on the news from a reputable newspaper yesterday. This one says right groups warn of escalating intimidation against critics. Obedience movement threatens national protests. CBN denies compulsory retirement. Allocates 50 billion for voluntary exit. Kwara demotes transfer teachers over assault on COP member. That was from the first news. And the second newspaper I'll be looking into is the Metrics. The Metrics has this to say: defamation. Farotimi's arrest sparks outrage. Obedience movement threatens national protest as Atiku Obi kicks. Aha! So therefore, this one is confirming the news that we saw, or what we were trying to say about Farotimi's arrest, and it is saying there's an citizens, certain people are reacting to this very arrest, and they are not happy. Just like I said, I'm not happy about this very arrest. He is one that has been very, very vocal to the cost of humanity. He is one person, an activist that will say the truth the way it is, without actually mincing word. One that will say it the way it is without minding who he is addressing, irrespective of the person's political class. And I think that is being used against him. Now, Senate summons Keyamo Airlines over. Okay, I've taken this. Tinubu's tax reform bills suffer setback. Senate suspends action. Set up committee to review bills with AGF. Orders committee on finance to stay action on public hearing. Orientation agency says tax reform crucial for national growth. FG generates 2.5 trillion in taxes from Google, X, TikTok, others in first quarter 2024. And that was from Nate Da. Tinubu returns to Nigeria after bi-national event. 2024. Ariwa Consultative Forum recalls National Chairman Osuman after suspension. Oh, the National Chairman of Ariwa Consultative Forum that was suspended has been called back. We had that conversation some week back about the suspension of the Ariwa Consultative Forum's chairman has been political, and then the barrister in the house on that day had something to say about it, saying that the decision to actually make that declaration that the Ariwa Consultative Forum are not going to support Tinubu come 2027, that they are going to support a northern candidate, was not his to actually make without consulting the National Executive Council and the Board of Trustees. Well, they have recalled him back from that very suspension, and that is what the newspaper is saying this morning. So Blueprint has this to say. It says Kwara demotes transfer errant teacher for assaulting COP member. Zamfara. 10 on board golf car killed in bridge bomb explosion. this bomb explosion is coming back into it's becoming a recurring factor in recent time. Unfortunately, just of recent, there was a news that a lady was caught with a bomb on her body, and that's automatically means she's a suicide bomber. And now we are having this news this morning saying that this is happening in Zamfara. Too much to actually how do I put it? Too much to actually face or struggle with, especially when it comes to the issue of insecurity in this country. We're talking about the Lakrawas, we're talking about the bandits, we're talking about the kidnappers, we're talking about the cattle headers, we're talking about terrorist groups, and then now we're also talking about suicide bombers. It is too much to actually bear. The federal government should do something about the issue of this suicide bombers. It's becoming another factor or another problem that Nigerians would have to face, and we are begging that this should not be given the chance to actually swell, because so far so good, it is becoming more like a daily news. So in continuation, here on the Blueprint newspaper, it says tax reform bills. Also, this one has tax reform bills. So this tax reform bills have become a major issue as far as Nigeria is concerned in recent time. It says judiciary to the rescue as Senate halts action, meets presidential delegation. Reforms urgent to address struggles of Nigeria. That's Oyedele. Oyedele is saying the reform is a necessity in order to meet the plight of Nigerians. But then, like the barrister would say yesterday in the House, help us understand how this reform is going to affect us positively. Not just saying that the reform is going to affect us positively. How is the reform going to affect us positively is what we want to know. Daily Times has this to say, says Senate bows to pressure, suspends further action on tax reforms, constitute committee to meet presidential team today. UK to deport Nigerian pastor Toby Adegboyega. Senate bows to pressure, suspends further action on tax reform. Benue killings, reduce proliferation of small arms. Senate urges security agency. The reoccurring these killings in Benue is becoming a reoccurring decimal, a reoccurring factor, and it is really unfortunate that the people of Benue State will have to face this again and again and again. Last week we had issue where they had an attack twice last week, and then it still seems as if it has not stopped. Before the end of the past administration of the then Governor Otom, it seems as if at some point there was some level of control over the incident killing in Benue State. But the new governor and the new government or new administration of Hyacinth, Governor Hyacinth, Reverend Father Hyacinth, is actually, it seems as if it's becoming something of concern again. In recent time, I am calling on the governor to actually look into this. The governor should do something, take a very decisive action, especially as it concerns the incident killing in Benue State. It's becoming actually too much. In continuation, it says PRP chieftain calls for stepping down of tax reform bills. Okay, the PRP chieftain chairman is actually against the tax reform bill too. Political parties are beginning to say something about this bill. Nigeria, South Africa launch advisory council to boost trade investment. Well, yesterday we made mention of the importance of the bilateral trade between Nigeria and South Africa, and the fact that South Africa has loosened its reduced the bottlenecks that one would have to go through in order to get visa to South Africa is a plus to Nigeria and South Africa itself, because that means there is going to be a more mutual understanding, a more mutual relationship between the two countries, and it is beneficial considering the fact that we have been brothers for a very long time. I have not forgotten the impact that Nigeria made, especially when it comes to putting an end to the apartheid regime in 1994. And in recent time, we had issues with South Africa, the issue of xenophobia and all. And now Nigeria and South Africa seems to be having a good relationship. It is something worth celebrating. Africa is Africa. It doesn't matter if it's in the south or in the north or even in the west or in the east. Every African is my brother and is your brother. The understanding of this is going to foster our relationship and push us and put us in a position that we are supposed to be in a global stage. Well, it says South Africa seeks Nigeria's lithium support. That's G20B. This is supporting the very recent assertion we just made about the relationship between South Africa and Nigeria. Senate vows to pressure suspend further action on tax reform bills. Constitute committee to meet presidential team. That was Daily Times. And the Sun has this to say: Borno woman wins every home a garden, 25 million top price. CBN explains extension of early exit plan to all workers. Zenith Bank is winner of 2024 Bankers Award. Abiodun presents 1.5 trillion 2025 expenditure plan. South Africa targets Nigeria's lithium for e-vehicle revolution. Tax reform bill. Senate executes in bid for consensus. Organized private sector. Tax experts. Sanwo-Olu reform a necessity. 61 aircraft to join national Nigerian Air Force fleet next year. All right, that was from the Sun newspaper. And Punch has this to say: fuel imports hits 2.3 billion liters despite local production. It therefore means we're not producing as much as we need for consumption, even with the fact that the Port Harcourt refinery is currently producing, I think it is only producing about 60,000 liters per day. And now we're saying the fuel importation has hit 2.3 billion. That is massive. If we are producing as much in this country, we wouldn't have been spending this much in order to buy fuel from other countries. It says Senate summons Keyamo over flight delays. Well, this is for people that uses travel with flight. It says FG fires Togo, Benin degree holders from MDAs. Naira devaluation raises foreign debt by 30 trillion. This is the ripple effect that the devaluation of one's currency has on the value of the currency, and then how much it will affect you when you are going to pay a debt, especially when you are indebted. Devaluing a currency is not an ideal thing to do, but unfortunately the Bretton Woods institution has this as a conditionality for you to actually devalue your currency even when you borrow. That is to say, you are going to pay triple, 4 times, quadruple, or even quintuple the amount that you borrow. It is a strategy to actually keep us underdeveloped, if you ask me. Tax reform. Senate suspends debate panel. Panel meets AGF today. Senate constitutes special committee to address concerns. Presidency urges urgent passage. Well, the passage of this bill cannot be urgent as far as Nigerians are saying they are not yet aware or have the requisite knowledge that they need as it concerns this very bill. Passing it urgently is not something we should put into cognizance. Senate. All right. Atiku orders knock police as court remands Farotimi. PDP will teach APC lesson in Oyo. That is Makinde. That was from Sun newspaper. The Guardian says antibiotic abuse worsens drug resistance. Claims 64,500 lives yearly. It is something actually worth giving attention to. as far as the contemporary Nigeria is concerned. The use of drugs and the abuse of drugs is becoming something beyond the control of these youths, and I think the federal government and the right agencies should take it very, very serious, because lives are actually, the amount of lives, or the number of lives that are being lost on a daily out of drug abuse, even in our areas where we live, is alarming. There needs to be something there. NDLEA needs to be very, very active, and then the NAFDAC itself, every agency that needs to be proactive when it comes to the issue of controlling this drug abuse, or reducing the circulation, importation of these very drugs that are banned, or controlled drugs, should actually do something about it. It is becoming too much that even the youths right now are reducing themselves to the level where they even sniff gutters. This is the dependence is becoming too much, and I think rehabilitation centers will have to actually swift into action and do the needful, and then civil society organizations that are professionals in this angle should please do something to help the youths, especially here in Plateau State. I cannot tell of other states, but here in Plateau State it is on the increase, and we need to do something about it. In continuation, it says why NIN has not been effective in stemming kidnapping. This is trying to explain the reason why NIN has not been effective in controlling kidnapping, or helping in the case of kidnapping. MacArthur orders lament loss of $200 billion to corruption in Nigeria. That is a huge amount of money. $200 billion is a huge amount of money to lose. Court remands Farotimi till December 10th for alleged defamation. Defamation of character, it's actually a crime in Nigeria, but then we don't have the news the way we should right now, so we can't say anything about it. Tax reform bill, Senate bows to pressure, suspends hearing. NNPCL faults Falana, insists Port Harcourt refinery producing fuel. Falana has some question to ask about whether or not the refinery was actually functioning, or is actually functioning, and now the Senate are saying that, questioning Falana's, asking why Falana asked such question as to whether the refinery is actually functioning or not. News Telegraph has this to say. It says 2025 Senate buckles, suspends hearing on controversial tax reform. It's about the tax reform again and again and again. Nigeria opens for business with South Africa, says Tinubu. Farotimi arrest, Grimm's reminder of military dictatorship. Actually, in a democracy, there are ways that you go about stuff like this, and there are ways that stuff like this should not be done. Well, the Daily newspaper, Daily Trust has this to say: how tax reform bills put Barrow on the spot. Staff opted for voluntary retirement. CBN. 12 burnt to death in Yobe Road accident. Senate AGF to review tax reform bill today. Public hearing suspended indefinitely. New committee and operation. Lakurawa responsible for Zamfara explosion. That is the police. So it has been confirmed that the explosion in Zamfara was as a result of a terrorist activity by the Lakurawas. Unfortunately, the Lakurawas are still terrorizing Zamfara state despite the proactive measures by military, especially the new chief of army staff. He has been very, very proactive, especially when it comes to the issue of this Lakurawas. But you can still hear that the Lakurawas are still carrying out activities in Zamfara state. Very unfortunate. How 4 police officers stole 43 million from cargo driver. The police that is supposed to be preach integrity, the police that is supposed to be the symbol of civility, this police that is supposed to be the symbol of integrity and honesty, because they are the ones that melt punishment to people that are not actually, some of them are actually perpetrating the same evil that they were created to actually control or work against. Is very, very unfortunate, and such police officers should be dealt with seriously before it becomes a norm, because I understand that anything you permit over a long period of time becomes a norm. Permitting this is very dangerous to dear nation Nigeria. FG declares special end of the year train service for Nigerians. Ex-Kwara Governor Ahmed misappropriated 5 billion Universal Basic Education Fund. That is a weakness saying this. Well, those are the newspaper headlines for this morning. We'll be going on this very short break, and when we come back, we'll be giving analysis into certain issues of interest that are on the newspaper this morning. Please stay tuned. We will be right back.
This is Unity FM.
Due to the frequency of unity, the voice of reason, the voice so clear and crystal. Put your mind on the stereo. United we stand, divided we fulfill the pleasure of the groove. Unity FM 93.3, the voice of reason.
Okay, let's go. Before the sun rises, make a hey. You want me to close me? Lele. I be all over your finger like Lele. We be flying in the air like Iris. Taking all over the stereo, what's next? All the stations I beg, new vex. Now we defeat your playlist. All the tunes we play in the pitch piece. So break chain, it's time to be free. I'm busy with the voice, 93.3.
Unity FM 93.3 here. Unity FM, the voice of reason. Unity FM, the voice of freedom. Unity FM, the voice of reason. The voice of reason. The voice of reason. Unity, yeah, voice of reason. Unity, oh, voice of reason.
Unity FM 93.3, the voice of reason.
From the home of peace and tourism, this is Unity 93.3 FM.
Advertise your goods, services, and products here on the all-new Unity 93.3 FM. We are the station you have been waiting for. Take advantage of our wide coverage, quality programming, unique listenership, and unbeatable rates to promote and market your products and services. For us at Unity FM, your satisfaction is our driving force. For placement and inquiries, visit our marketing office at number 62, Zenaria Hill Layout, Jos Plateau State, Nigeria, or call us on 080-253-22266, 080-5223-1992. So come talk to us today, and we will put your word out there.
Sending chills to our hearts. Love building our consciences. Love is our only consciousness. We live, eat, breathe, and even sweat love. Because love is our greatest weapon. Love is what we live. Love is what we practice. Love is what we wanna share, 'cause love is all. Love, love, it's just love. Love is unity, unity 93.3 FM, voice of reason, voice of reason.
93.3 FM.
Unity FM, voice of reason.
Unity 93.3 FM.
There is a place where everyone is different yet happy. Where love and friendship fills the air. Where togetherness is a tradition. And diversity is a strength. Just City, home of Unity, 93.3 FM.
Reason it.
Since we know our parts, we're going to get it right, aren't we?
Yeah. Voice it. Champion it. It's Unity 93.3 FM.
Yep, okay, here we go.
Just.
Face it, the only thing constant in radio is change.
A lot's changed since 1967.
You've evolved with your listeners.
You used to play this.
From that very, very short break, if you can still hear my voice, then it means you're rightly tuned into the frequency meter of Unity 93.3 FM and TV. And of course, it is still that your most anticipated political and socio-economic program on the radio, the Unity Train. Today is Thursday, the 5th day of December 2024, and this morning I am fortunate and privileged to have with me in the studio an erudite analyst, a father, one who is an academic juggernaut. He is a professor here in the University of Jos with the Department of Theatre Arts. He has come to lend his voice to the cause of humanity and foster the contributes his quota to the development of Nigeria, especially as it concerns contemporary issue that has bedeviled our political climes. This morning, he is no other person but the person of Professor Ademiju Bepo. He's here in the studio and he wants to say good morning to you. You're welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much, Michael. Good morning, listener and viewers. It's a pleasure to be here.
Welcome to the studio,
Thank you
Professor.
very much, Michael.
Actually, before you came in, we were having a conversation about certain issues that we found of interest in the studio this morning. And one of those issues is the issue of the tax reform bill. So many debates, experts coming out to say that the bill is going to have a positive impact on Nigerians, and other experts are saying the bill has a positive impact, but then a section of the bill, especially that section that speaks about the VAT, the value added tax, is not okay, while other people are saying the bill in itself, the timing is very, very wrong. I don't know what your stake is as it concerns this issue.
Yes, thank you, Michael. For me, the issue of the tax reforms bill has come like everything or every policy statement that this current administration has done since May 29, 2023. You recall that it was on the inauguration day of the president that he announced that fuel subsidy is gone.
Without any consultation.
Without any consultation. This same bill is just coming out from nowhere. Let's assume that maybe some works have been in the pipeline before this current administration, but he came in and I think appointed someone, a chairman of they tax this and that, and then suddenly they are coming up with bills, 4 bills. According to the government, the bills are coming to reorganize the tax sector, trying, according to them, to reduce the multiple taxation. Yes, that can be understood. But why not give enough time for the citizens to debate this issue thoroughly? I recall, I was an undergraduate student in 1986 during the regime of President Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, when IMF was trying to force the structural adjustment program on us. He subjected that suggestion to a nationwide debate. He was able to listen to the pros and cons. There are always 2 sides to every issue.
True.
Now, this one, excuse me, when are we going to have the other side of the issue? That is what has generated all the reactions. I won't say they are responses. They are reactions to the bill.
True.
Former presidential candidates have been speaking. Other stakeholders have been speaking. And the people that will be mostly affected by this bill have not been given the platform to speak, to air their opinion.
True.
Now we're having issues, about different aspects of the bill. What we have seen on social media is just snippets of portions of the bill. Like you said, the VAT. When the VAT was introduced, of course there was, displeasure among the citizenry. But then, this was a government policy. We had to accept it. Now, VAT is being moved to 10% from next year. I think from 2026, it will go to 12.5%. Then, by 2029, I think they just leave it at, is it 15%? So from 2030, it will just be going up and up. Value added tax. Yes, if these taxes will come and add value to the lives, the welfare and well-being of the citizens, fine. But it is going to make more money for the government, and the money the government will rake in will be shared among the 3 tiers of government. What has been our experience since independence, especially the masses? Even today, we are still complaining. Taxes are on the high side.
Nigerians have never been taxed as much as we've been taxed under this administration, never.
How many years in power we are under this heavy burden? And I just hope that the National Assembly will provide a platform for people to debate this bill thoroughly. Looking at what the National Assembly has been doing, the Senate, the House of Reps, they have been taking it up and all of that. And we have a strong opposition from the north. Perhaps maybe because they don't understand what is coming. But if we are able to discuss it and put the advantages and the disadvantages on the table, I hope we're going to get there. Yes, we want to reduce multiple taxation. But in reducing that, it is not fair that the percentage of taxes is still going high.
Despite the economic challenge and the
recent... It will have recurring effects on the people. But by the time the market woman and the market man learns that taxes have been increased, they may not understand it. The taxes will be taken from those who are working for government. The informal sector is there. I've not gone through the entire, but I've gone through briefs on the bill. If the informal sector is not properly harnessed to also tax them, and then people will see their taxes at work, when they see development. That is the way to go. Not to just announce the tax reform, we come and improve life of people. How long are we going to wait? My people have a saying. I'm from Yoruba land. So, if you take 7 years to prepare for a display, to prepare for madness, when are you going to start displaying the madness
itself? Actually,
it is.
But then I think Nigerians are having a lot of questions as to this very tax reform bills because of the recent decision of the president, especially as it concerns the removal of the fuel subsidy. A lot of promises were made to the Nigerians that the removal of the fuel subsidy is going to better their lives, but reverse is actually the case. So I think the debates and then the questions and then the attacks and reactions that we see today has a lot to do with the issue of trust.
That is it.
Implementing the tax bill in itself is not the problem. But if you implement these tax bills, will the Nigerians get the dividends of this very reform as it is? That is the challenge I feel that people are actually...
That is the question on the lips of so many Nigerians. And not everyone can have the opportunity to say something. Now, fuel subsidy was removed. The current administration said that will help save some money. In one of the newspaper headlines you read, importation of fuel is still going on.
Yes,
despite local production. Attempt to produce,
still spending up to 2.something billion to import.
Who is deceiving who? And to say that Nigerians will begin to enjoy, when will Nigerians begin to enjoy the dividends of, can we call this a democracy? Honestly.
It has a name for it. We don't know what the name is actually.
So I've been asking myself lately, where did that phrase go to? Dividends of democracy. It came with the civilian administration since 1999. And I know that so many people cashed out just pushing that phrase, dividends of democracy. If you go everywhere, where are the roads? Especially in the local government councils. In the state, where are the roads? With us here on the plateau, where are the roads? And these roads are supposed to be made, rehabilitated, reconstructed, maybe from taxes and from allocations that the state government receive from the federation account. Now, if more taxes are introduced or the taxes are increased in percentages, how will that bring the dividends of democracy? When food items, prices of food items skyrocketed right from May 29, 2023.
True.
And the prices are not coming down.
True.
And there is no sign that the prices will come down in the nearest future.
Yeah.
So
because we don't see any
Nigerians continue to suffer in silence. And we are smiling.
Unfortunately.
The way Fela sang. Suffering and smiling. We are suffering and yet we are smiling. And I recall there was a report of a study that was carried a couple of years ago, declaring that Nigerians are the happiest people on earth. Of course, you need to make yourself happy. But government also need to work to make the citizens happier.
True.
If citizens are working to make themselves happy, the government should make us happier. Not to bring out cutthroat policies that will only turn many Nigerians into living dead. A friend of mine was sharing with us, I think 2 days ago, that he was driving along Rampam Street. And a man, a young man, was just crossing the road, talking to himself. That he almost hit this person, if not that he was sensitive enough to stop the car.
Frustration.
In time.
Frustration.
A lot of people are walking on the streets, talking to themselves, frustrated, thinking of where the next plate of meal will come from. Yet, government is saying they are increasing taxes. there is a high rate of unemployment. What has government done about that? In the last administration, the 8 years, the government promised, employment, creation of jobs, so number of jobs every year. I'm sure this administration also promised that.
A lot.
This is going to
the first 1 year, there's going to be at least 1 million.
To the second year in office, what have we seen? So it is the same set of people, the same group of people that are being overburdened with these taxes.
And unfortunately, it is really unfortunate to see that this administration is not really doing much when it comes to the aspect of employment or development. Reason being that the removal of soil subsidy has generated so much money for this country compared to other administrations.
That's what they said.
Yeah, because one of the dailies in recent time captured $20 billion as money saved from first subsidy. Now, what is the budget of this year? 40-something trillion, and then convert 20 billion to naira. How much will that be? Why are we going to borrow money? Why do we keep borrowing money? Now, there's a lot of explanations that Nigerians will need. Sometimes there are certain actions that the government take, and then it makes us feel as if we're not intelligent or we don't know what we are doing, or Nigerians are actually, because of our adaptive nature, because of the fact that how do I put it? What's the word for it now? That
they say we are resilient.
Yes, we are resilient to certain things. A lot of things that just happen, and then Nigerians don't say anything. It's really, really unfortunate. About this bilateral relationship in recent time, Nigeria and South Africa, do you think it is something beautiful that Nigerians should look forward into actually having this relationship with South Africa, since considering the fact that we have not been in good time with South Africa for a very long time, even judging from the fact, even though we were very, very instrumental to the end of the apartheid regime, but still we don't have this good bilateral relationship with South Africa. But in recent times, it seems as if there's a development. Do you have something to say about it, sir?
Yes, thank you for that question. I followed the trajectory of the South African situation. When I was in the University of Ibadan, I schooled in Ibadan.
Okay.
We had friends, colleagues, who came to study from South Africa, apart from other countries, in different disciplines. We had like one or two in my own department, theater arts, back then. And we all cohabited in the halls of residence and all of that. And we recall that Nigeria spent humongous amounts of money to keep them here schooling.
True.
We did the same thing for different countries in Southern Africa, apart from just South Africa, the Republic of South Africa now. And the fight against apartheid, we were there to ensure the dismantling of apartheid. And this came to be 30 years ago, 1994, with the democratic dispensation that late Nelson Mandela gave him the opportunity to become the first black president of South Africa.
Yeah.
Maybe South Africans have forgotten that history. But Nigeria, being the big brother of Africa, we can never forget.
True.
We are very hospitable. And, so we embrace South Africa and other countries that had to go through liberation struggle. Mind you, we didn't go through liberation struggle.
True.
We had our independence, or so-called independence, on the platter of gold.
Yes.
Now, looking at the bilateral relations, why did the relationship degenerate into what we have? To the extent of xenophobia being visited on our people. And, there were talks, diplomatic talks and all that between the two countries. The trip by the president to South Africa maybe is bringing up some ray of hope. Let's keep our minds open. let's keep hope alive that there will be a resurgence, a renewal of the bilateral relations. A lot of things have gone wrong between the two countries.
A lot.
Yes.
A lot.
And maybe this is, the beginning of a new thing for the two countries. I just hope and pray that this will trickle down to the citizens enjoying the dividends. I read in the dailies, was it yesterday or so, that visa application or processing, and there will be some relief to those who are interested in going over to South Africa. And then the business or economic relations, the fact that South Africa says, okay, they will not mind coming into a relationship with us, maybe I think they have signed an MOU on the lithium deposit that we have. And my worry is, we have so many mineral resources that can also help the country,
boosting our economy.
But we are just doing like this, or folding our arms and allowing other countries to come and take away what we have. Are they going to bring value to the discussion, to the understanding? How much will they pay for those things? What will be in the exchange? If you are taking our lithium because it's good for electric this and all of that, making batteries and even somebody said they can go as far as making atomic bomb and all of that. True. When are we going to rise to that level as a nation? There is California, is it Yobe State or Kebbi State, where
even Sambisa
Forest and all those places. How have we leveraged as a nation on these God-endowed resources? We are behaving like, a child that doesn't belong to its father, filtering away the inheritance that we have in the name of bilateral relations. Why can't we look inwards? We have universities, we have polytechnics, we have people who can actually sit down and convert this into wealth.
Looking at intelligence from global statistics, Nigerians are more intelligent than South Africans. But unfortunately, South Africans are the ones that are actually advancing in terms of technology in Africa. South Africa, Egypt, Morocco, and the likes are actually doing well. Kenya, Rwanda, and the likes are in recent time actually making
I keep asking myself several questions. When are we going to wake up and become a productive nation? If South Africa comes and takes our lithium now, what are we going to have left for us? Look at the mineral resources even on the plateau here. Every blessed day that dawns, there are trailers. How many trailers taking away resources from this state? What is coming in for the people from that? A lot of investigation needs to be done. The other day, the Minister of Solid Mineral Resources was saying this and that, but how has that translated to creation of wealth that will now cascade down to better the lives of the people, to now give us better development? When last did we hear a rolling plan, developmental rolling plan? When I was in primary school in the 70s, the government of the day then was the government of General Yakubu Gowon, before he was booted out in 1975. And then Muritala came in, stayed a short while, and then Obasanjo took over. Every year, as young as I was, I used to listen to the broadcast, the budget presentation on the rediffusion box in my father's house then. before broadcasting now became more decentralized. I used to hear something about 5-year development plan. Every period, the period of 5 years, government will say, now what do we have? We have MTEF, mid-term economic, what's it called? And now the current dispensation, they are just interested in the MTEF.
True.
From now, I think the National Assembly just passed the one for the next 3 years or so, and all of that. All these have been passing and looking into how have this translated to making life better and more bearable for Nigerians.
Unfortunately, yesterday I was having a conversation with somebody, and then I remember I telling him that on the 30th of September 1960, a day before independence, the Queen of England, the then Queen Elizabeth, made a statement, and the statement was, by this time tomorrow, a great nation is going to be born. A nation that has the capacity to transform bones into meat. That is to say, the hopes and expectation for Nigeria, even before independence, was very, very high.
Very high.
Unfortunately, we have disappointed ourselves. Well, when we come back, we're going to be having a discussion around this as to certain issues, because I was reading a book, How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, Walter Rodney. Then I came across another book, How Africa Underdeveloped Africa, by Stanley C. Igwe. And then I came to realize a lot of things that are actually anti what we hear every day. Well, we'll be going on this very, very short break, and when we come back, we'll be having a more in-depth conversation. But the next segment is going to be the segment where you can call in and give your contribution and also ask questions. Well, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Face it, the only thing constant in radio is change.
A lot's changed since 1967.
You've evolved with your listeners.
You used to play this.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now.
Now you play this. Unity 93.3 FM.
Reason it.
Okay.
Voice. Listen, 93.3 is the voice of unity, bringing peace to your own community. Okay. Listen, united we stand, divided we fall. Let's welcome unity with a round of applause. Champion. Okay. Listen, united we stand, divided we fall. Let's welcome unity with a round of applause.
It's Unity 93.3.
United we stand, divided we fall. Let's welcome unity with a round of applause. Okay, let's welcome with a round of applause. Let's welcome unity with a sound of applause. Let's welcome with a round of applause. Let's welcome unity with a sound of applause. Sound of applause. Let's welcome unity with a sound of applause.
It's Unity 93.3 FM.
With a sound of applause. Peace.
Injustice.
Echoes are made of many voices.
Kuna tare ne da sautin gidan rediyo
ne Unity FM. Unity FM reo.
Ina sitan ala kundum ha Unity FM.
Including yours and mine. If one by one all goes silent, then all that will be left are the amateurs. Never let a love view determine the nature of the sound.
I can see the end of the road.
Oya, elugogon fún wa o. Ti wero na yin gba o.
Kada ku sauya tasha.
E mo yi kúrò sí dali Unity FM o. Unity FM e ba no.
Da hurala kundun ha hanan anwe.
We are only as weak as we are divided, as strong as we are united. Unity FM 93.3, the voice of reason.
Easy listening favorites. Nighttime.
This goes out to all my lovers tonight. And if you're listening to my groove, and your baby's next to you, girl, change into that Victoria's Secret thing that I like. Alright, okay, tonight you're having me your way.
That feels good right there.
Unity FM.
All night, every night.
From Jos, the capital of Plateau State, Nigeria, this is Unity 93.3 FM.
Sound for sound. Beat for beat. No bigger hits around.
Unity 93.3 FM.
We surpass the standards. We are the voice of the community. We are Unity.
All right, good morning. Welcome back to the... Welcome back from that very, very short break. And of course, if you can still hear my voice, then it means you're still rightly tuned into the frequency meter of Unity 93.3 FM and TV. And of course, it is still that your most anticipated political and social economic program on the radio, the Unity Train. We were having a lot of conversation before we went on that very short break, and the professor in the house, in the person of Professor Ademiju Bepo, has a lot to say about certain issues that we have on ground this morning. Before we went on that break, we're still just going to go back to that conversation before we open the phone lines for you to call in and give your inputs and submissions as to the issues we have on ground this morning. You can send your SMS to 08163141141, and if you want to call, you can call 07032353315. The number to call again, 07032353315. So, Professor, before we went on that very short break, we were having a conversation around the South Africa, the bilateral relationship between South Africa and Nigeria, and then the fact that South Africa is coming at this point in time to have this relationship, or how do I call it, more like a settlement with Nigeria, because there's something that has been cited that is going to be of benefit to South Africa, which happens to be lithium. We made mention of the fact that in a global scale, in terms of comparison, when it comes to the aspect of intelligence, Nigerians are rated even above South Africans in terms of intelligence. But again, we have one of the major challenges that I have seen, that even the intelligent Nigerians have been, due to brain drain, and not actually working to the benefit or advancement of Nigeria. Rather, their brains are being used externally for the advancement of other countries. So, do you think it is because of this, the interest of South Africa primarily to actually get this lithium, that we're having this relationship right now, or it is just because it is time for us to actually we have come to realize the importance of having a relationship, and that is why we're actually having this relationship?
Thank you once again, Michael. And viewers, welcome back. I want to believe that diplomatic relations between nations is a desirable index of economic, social, and political development.
True.
Politically, yes, we have bilateral relations with South Africa. Now we are going to maybe to build on the economic relations between the two countries. I won't say it's because we want to settle something, or one thing or the other, but let's give it to the administration. One of the promises it made was to get as much FDI, that's foreign direct investment, into the economy. And if these bilateral relations, for South Africa to come for our lithium, and then for Nigeria to also enjoy some, values.
Now, in terms of vision and focus, it seems like the South African government have more, especially as it concerns this bilateral relationship, because they have pointed out the reason why they are coming, the lithium. Why are we going? Has our government said anything yet about the reason why we are having this relationship? with them. They are coming for our lithium, actually.
Yes.
So economically, they stand to gain.
To gain.
Why are we having this relationship with South Africa at this point in time? Is there anything that has been pointed out that you know of? Because I don't know of any that we stand to gain from South Africa. Before now, we had investment from South Africa, and notable of them all is the ShopRite. Which is now owned by Nigeria.
In the telecoms sector.
The telecom, yes,
MTN,
we have the DSTV, MultiChoice, and
all those ones. And I think gradually, recently, MultiChoice said they are divesting from Nigeria, and and things like that. Yes, I want to believe the president's economic advisors or the president's economic team would have looked into this even before the president's trip to South Africa. And now, like you said, and rightly so, we don't have the details on the table. Most of what this administration has been riding on has been media, let me use the word propaganda. They just come and drop this there, drop this today, drop this the following day, and we don't
have baked information.
Yes, we don't know much about it. Otherwise, if we have details in the university, we can subject this to a wider debate. What will Nigeria stand to gain? In South Africa coming for our lithium, how much are they paying for it? Or are they going to give something that we need in exchange? And that is, see, the government has to focus on development. Is there going to be any technological transfer or relation between South Africa and Nigeria on the basis of the country coming for our lithium? South Africa is not the first country that will say they are coming for our lithium.
Of course.
But now that's the current thing on the table. Now, let us look at what the two countries stand to gain. And if South Africa is coming for our lithium, what does Nigeria stand to lose?
Good.
Can't we move up? Look at the steel industry. It has been lying comatose for decades.
Of course. See the what is it called?
Ajakuta
rolling mill and the likes.
They have even sold off most of them. Do you know how much has been sunk into maybe turnaround maintenance for Ajakuta and the rest of them? Recently, they said, I think, which country is coming now? Is it Russia or is it what country? Every day we just hear this news on the media and we read what we cannot even substantiate. We just have, it's like we are still groping in the darkness. When it comes to developmental issues, Nigeria is still groping in the darkness. We are not even focused. If you want to develop a particular sector or industry, we should be focused. If we are having like 3-4 industrial,
interest.
Thank you. We should be consistent. I still say, until Nigeria becomes a productive country, will it shock you to learn that we don't even produce toothpick in this country?
It's really unfortunate.
What are we producing?
Really unfortunate.
And if we know what lithium stands to give any nation's economy, why are we not exploiting or exploring that for the benefit of our own economy? Is it that we're not going to get some employment in that area? And
with the rate of unemployment in this country, we should be looking at diversifying the economy.
Diversifying, yes. We are still a mono-economic nation. Oil. Yes, they say yes, agriculture.
But sir, do you if you look at it from a very, very intelligent perspective, the fact that South Africa is even coming for our lithium to develop electric cars is actually a message to Nigeria to say that, hey, the world is actually shifting from the use of petrol to the use of other means of electricity. And Nigerians, we have this lithium. We're not looking into shifting from this and then diversifying into something else. We are giving it out to South Africans to actually achieve.
That was why I said earlier on, before we went on break, that Nigeria is still behaving like a child. Maybe he doesn't have a father, or who has, a child to whom so many fathers are laying claim. And so when any inheritance comes into the hand of that child, the child can just fritter it away without thinking of tomorrow. Are we thinking of tomorrow? When are we going to develop our automobile industry?
We have the likes of Innocent Motors here, and then we are not even looking at how to invest into Innocent Motors and then give them a certain conditions that, okay, per year you're going to train a number of students in the automobile design, into automobile production. So in a short period of time, 10, 20 years, Nigerians will
try to move up.
Yes,
and
we
be
are looking at
exporters of automobile vehicles. But we're not doing that.
Even for internal consumption, 200 million Nigerians.
I don't know whether you are aware of a couple of years ago, the University of Jos there, a student of the Faculty of Engineering did his, final year project and, designed a prototype car.
See?
I think the car is still standing in front of the faculty building there. What partnerships have any government brought for this? And he was not the first person. We've been having talents. Like you said, I agree with you. Nigerians are very talented. We are very intelligent. But in which direction have we deployed that intelligence? That's the question.
Sincerely. Even in Plateau State here, there's this guy, Malo, one Malo like that. He owns an automobile company, Benny. The name of the automobile company is Benny. He just made recently a very fantastic sport car that Nigeria should be. Nigeria as a nation should actually want to invest into this person. But then, you have not heard anything like that. With all that being said, it is time for you to actually call in and give your input and submission as to this very discussion of today. And the number to call is 0703-235-3315. On social media, you can reach us on Facebook on Unity FM/TV Jos, and on YouTube, we are on Unity FM TV. You can send in your comments. On Facebook, I have some comments. This one is from Mohammed Tajuddin. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen in the studio. It's a good idea for the Senate to have suspended further action on the controversial tax reform bill, since majority of people are not in total support of this bill. The Senate and the presidency should look at the areas that are causing so much controversies and work out what will be the best for all Nigerians." Mohammed Tajuddin from Naraguta. Thank you, Mohammed Tajuddin. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Pedro.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from?
I'm the guest in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Adewumi.
Thank you very much. God continue to bless you for your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly speaking, as your guest has spoken, we do a lot as they said. But on the other hand, you don't need to always travel, seeing our leaders traveling, leaving the country, before I start looking for investors when we are faced with a lot of insecurity. When we come and invest in a country that is facing a lot of insecurity, and on the other hand, we have all the stakes to grow our country. For God's sake, we are 64 years, 2024. But what have we benefited? When will we start to be a consuming nation and be a producing nation? Let me give you an instance in here in Plateau State. We have the renting car. The young father, if you go to your renting car, where they fabricate a lot of different types of. If you go to that place, honestly speaking, you will be astonished to see a young girl coming up. If it has been like in the foreign country, you will see government coming and assisting people. We have Zaria Road by 7. You will see shops. A lot of things being done on the plateau. If you go to the Naraguta area, you see people producing shoes. But the problem is that if you don't have the capital and you don't have the support, how are you going to go? So our leaders must look inward to start at least patronizing what we have locally. At the time when we are able to patronize things we have locally, just as what your guest has said, like those who fabricate cars, who assemble cars and do all sorts of things. It's just that our leaders are not just looking the side of the young Nigerians. And they are telling us we are the leaders of tomorrow. How are we going to get access to this when our And let me conclude on this aspect. On the tax reform, instead of us having skills and emphasizing on a particular field on daily, we can the eyes have it for the development of this country to see changes in the aspect of fabrication and construction so that this country can be great. So that's my major take this money. I think the labor of our hero Christ shall not be a
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Adewumi. Mr. Adewumi would always call in every morning on this program to give positive and very educative input. Good morning.
Good morning, my Pedro.
Good morning, Mr. Ike Kalu.
Thank you, and everyone in the studio. I'm Mr. Ike Kalu calling you from Olgidi.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You see, my Pedro, when you talk about this issue of tax reform, once you see the Pope has said, trust deficit, what Nigerians should be asking themselves, they said when we stop subsidizing fuel, money will come into our kitchen. Go and study it throughout the 36 states in Nigeria. All these governors, they are having more money in their kitchen. What is me and you getting from them? How far have they been able to utilize this money? You see, what we are saying is that Nigerians are not afraid of paying tax. But any tax that me and you doesn't see the difference, it's just like a waste. Even we are crying about insecurity. We are crying about water. We are crying about hospital. Is there anything me and you that is not a problem in this country? So you see all these people, when we keep on talking, they think we are just talking for talking things. Today, what have they resulted into? They have resulted into subsidizing religious organizations. They're giving subsidy to us, giving subsidy to Jerusalem, sponsoring Moses, sponsoring Christmas Eve. Now you will be dancing, suffering and smiling.
It's
and
priority.
when we finish the insecurities, we see what we are doing. And these boys are still running the streets with the place, taking up and down. They cannot give them education and think about the future. What are we talking about? You see this issue of suffering and smiling. Nigerians should be aware with it. Party is not our problem. The environment is not conducive. Go and look at our educational sector. Do you think we don't have teachers who can teach Nigerians to get to the promised land?
Of
but
course
when
we
you
do.
reduce the business need, what do you expect? We are in a difficult position, my brother. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ike Kalu. Thank you for that beautiful submission this morning. Mr. Ike Kalu is also one caller that would always call in and give beautiful submissions. Wonderful analysis. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mazi Okorafor. I'm calling from Blue Educational Center, Village in Anguilla, Plateau State, Nigeria. See, my main concern is this issue for the law, the reform, the tax reform. Do you know that statistics are so then I can complain that where is the rules, where is the left, where is the electricity, where is the other things, security. Now even look at what the electricity, just the electricity house did. They said some areas, bonus, you go and buy 1 unit, you get 14. So you buy 1 unit, you get 1,000 naira, you get 4, which is very, very, we should always look at it, analyze appetite in nature. They should bring appetite into this Plateau State, just the electricity house. If you say you are giving bonanza should go around for everybody. Please tell them that they have sustained other sections, other areas in Plateau State. It's not good. This is Nigeria. Country belongs to all of us. Good morning, Mazi Okorafor from Anchorage.
Thank you so much, Mazi Okorafor.
Thank you, Mazi.
Mazi will say there's no Nigerian that is more Nigerian than another Nigerian. So anything that is meant is good for the Jews should also be good for the gender. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling from? Yeah, I can hear you. Mr. Benedict, it's been a while. Welcome.
Can you go to say good morning to your guest?
Good morning.
Unbiased personality this morning and speaking the truth. Also speaking the truth to power. You're welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
If you're just, when you were speaking this morning, something came to my mind. And I said, the only problem Nigeria has is the division among us, the division among the ethnic line, religious line, and the tribal line. That is the one of the major issue we have. And that is exactly the leaders have been taking to be able to do whatever they want to do and divide us even the more.
True.
And when they come to say that this man is from my region, this man is from my tribe, then we want to defend the own, we want to protect the own religion, we need wanted to be at the top. And that's the reason why Nigeria is going to win this today. But I thank God, if you get in the similar field like Peter Obi, everybody will look at him that what you expect from someone like that who is already been in the position, who has also contested the election and online with the president of Nigeria, the current president of Nigeria, Shola His Excellency. But if you look at him, the reason where he comes from, I thank God he also mentioned that he came from the Southwest Nigeria. And the president is from the Southwest. He's also championing this particular issue of the tax reform bill. Look, are you there? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, fine. And when he was saying this, he actually condemned it, pointing out some certain key issues that is expected. He also make an analysis and say that if a man is going to prepare for 7 years, if a madman is going to prepare to become mad for 7 years, how long is he going to be able to become the madman? And that was a lot of billions of meaning and a billions of interpretation accrued to it. But then let me also take it from where you stop, quickly before I drop the mic. You see, when Ashodi Bola His Excellency removed the petroleum subsidy in 2023 unit 29, he told us that Nigerians are going to benefit after the removal of the petrol subsidy. And then Nigerians have been suffering and it's been very clear about it. Under his work also, the tariff of the tuition fee has also been increased. The tariff for electricity has also increased under the rate of Ashodi Bola for 3 years. You cannot also walk on the street today now. It has become very expensive to travel from one place to the other. Just because of that first subsidy. And again, when you talk about the benefit of all these things has been given, you ask yourself, when will Nigeria start benefiting from these things that told us? Nigerians are paying more to get the travel. Nigerians are paying between much now to be able to convey one good from one place to the other. Nigerians cannot be able to pay the children's school fees under his watch. And then they say what they're going to benefit. It's because the second to be able to get to madness before they're able to become mad in this country. This is the question I'm asking this morning. The line is not the same as just mentioned. And let me tell you something quickly. The National Assembly wants to pass this particular tax reform bill because Nigerians, the top people in the street are going to pay, and after make all these payments and pay these taxes, they will relax in the comfort of the office chairs. So the content by the taxpayers also to be able to relax and they give all this money and get fast. And they prepare for their children and their great-grandchildren for leadership in the years to come. The expense of 200 million Nigerians. And that's the reason why the petrol subsidy will only the petrol price will keep on getting high because most money.
Oh, unfortunately, we lost that call. Well, Mr. Benedict had a lot to say about the tax reform bill, and unfortunately, we lost that call, and then we're running out of time. I have some text messages that I want to take this morning. It says, good morning, Mr. Pedro and the guest. Whatever the tax reform bill is about, we pray it doesn't affect the poor masses negatively. I am scared of the policies of this government. Nigerians are just asking for little to be able to eat, have a roof over their heads, and be comfortable. Peace is priceless. Let's live in peace. God bless Unity, FM, Plateau State, and Nigeria. Christy Isang from Rukuba Road. That was from Christy Isang from Rukuba Road. This one says, good morning, Mr. J and the guests in the house. The guests have spoken well. No constructions going in the state. The governor should wake up and do the needful. The decorations are around roundabouts by the government cannot be compared with those done by NASCO and Miss Palace in the same vein, like the comments the Senate for the rejecting the tax bills. I commend the Senate for rejecting the past bills. Now they can go to their various constituency in peace. Suleiman Science from Yusuf Street. Well, thank you so much for your inputs and text messages and calls. Unfortunately, we will not be able to take more calls because we are running out of time. We'll be here back tomorrow to have more in-depth conversation as regarding certain issues and even this issue, if they appear tomorrow on the newspaper, or if we see that it is important that we have this conversation by tomorrow, then we'll continue from where we stop. At this point in time, we'll be signing out, and then the professor would want to give his last words to you before we go.
Okay, thank you very much for all those who called in. It shows that you are really listening to Unity FM and you are watching us. As I've said earlier, we need to keep asking our government to wake up. Somebody may say, are we not also part of the government? Yes, one way or the other, we are part of the government. And this is part of our responsibility as people who are part of the government. We have to come out and say our minds and let the government know how we feel. Imagine the largest deposit of coal in Enugu State, and there's no country, I mean, there's no company doing anything about it.
True.
The largest deposit of different minerals in this country are in different states. Yeah, we are not turning it into wealth creation for the people. I just hope that tomorrow will bring us a better prospect.
Well, thank you so much, Professor, for that beautiful words from you. From me to you, have a very pleasant day and God bless you. See you tomorrow, same time, same station. Bye.
Mr. Politician, it's good to see you again. It's been so long since you've been here. You had me thinking you were dead. How's your taxpayer mansion?